dear friends. Here we are at Kardec Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with hope and light. Hope and Light is based on the book Hope and Light, in Portuguese, Esperança e Luz. This book is authored by several spirits, from Emmanuel to Maria Dolores, Jair Presente, Castro Alves, Humberto de Campos, Brother X, and many others. And we are here to share with you a message by Emmanuel titled Forgiveness and Life. You may be asking, what is hope to do with forgiveness, right? Do you believe we can forgive without feeling hope? No, we can't. So, in order for us to forgive, we need to have hope. Hope in our divine nature, right? It's very important to understand, as neuroscience says, in order for us to have good decision making, we needed to reframe our world, what we perceive. So it's like this. There's a stimulus, and our eyes or our senses, we perceive it. And in this perception, we give it a meaning. For example, this pencil is a stimulus. And when I encode it, I break it down as, I perceive it as a pencil that writes, right? And it is a tool, a useful tool for writing. Then I have this stimulus, the book. This book is a stimulus for me. And when I break it down in my brain, I understand it as a book that can inspire me very, very much. So, in life, everything is a stimulus, including ourselves. Think of yourself right now. How do you feel yourself? Do you feel yourself as a stimulus of the good? A stimulus that is going to be beneficial to yourself? That's what we call self-esteem. Self-esteem is about framing ourselves in the good, of the good, from the good, right? So this is what we call encoding. So when the encoding happens, we can make a decision. So I think, oh, this is stimulus. Pencil, encoding. Now, what am I going to do with it? Oh, it's going to help me write. So then I use it to write. Neuroscience found out that we make wrong decisions because the error comes in the encoding. If we learn to do different encoding, which is to give a new meaning to things and people, to reframe everything, then we can give it an opportunity. So today we're going to talk about forgiveness. And forgiveness depends a whole lot on our perception. Are you ready? Yes? Emmanuel is going to help us. Let us read first, and then we're going to break it down. Indeed, Emmanuel says, our time on earth today is one of many conflicts and manifest disturbances. However, let us note that the absence of forgiveness reunites the portions of our negative reactions and presents us with the unsettling sum that becomes the path to war. The frictions of the home, the widespread complaints result from the incomprehension in which amongst humans the hardness of their hearts toward one another specified. Here is the irritation that sets the stage for illness. There is the lack of acceptance with which we detach ourselves from humility. Then personal arrogance favoring the pride of those who try to be a stronger power factor than those of other brothers who share life with them. We read, moved, about the remarkable meetings of our government or statesmen as they gather to discuss the problem of peace. It is natural to be moved by their exquisite statements and the greatness of their promises and decisions. But it turns out that in the unfolding hours, they are not the characters of our day-to-day life. Far from them, we gather with the blessings of God, our daily bread, and without them is that we see each other in different ways in which we maintain ourselves in daily life. We admire the TV celebrities and artistic value shows. Yet we need to learn how to treat our children and young and our youth more closely. Many people brag about the achievements of great sportsmen, and as happened before, those who overcame the distances and gone to the moon. However, we do not live with them, although they deserve our best consideration. We're called to know how to minimize the difficulties of great incidences between the walls of our domestic world, meaning our homes. Let us be kind to all those who share our lives. Let us tolerate one another, knowing that today we forgive someone's fault and perhaps tomorrow we'll be in need of benevolence and tolerance. Tonight's text says, let's forgive so that God may forgive us. Let us focus our attention on this maxim and forgive each other as often as necessary, and may the merciful Father excuse us all of our faults with compassion. Blessings to all. Emmanuel. This was a message psychographed by Chico Xavier in his group of prayer in Minas Gerais, November 21st, 1992. It's very interesting because nowadays we have social media and it seems that this message is so current. We hear the news and people feel like the president of our countries are just like a step away because of the closeness of the social media and celebrities, etc. But friends, Emmanuel is saying, yes, it's important that we pray for the celebrities. It's important that we pray for the leaders of the world, but we can't forget that our focus is our neighbor, which means the people under our roof, first and foremost. Be kind, he says. Be kind to all those who share our lives. Tolerate one another. So, give me just 1 second. I was just getting the book Thought and Life. In the book Thought and Life by Emmanuel as well, here we have chapter 25, Tolerance. Tolerance is the foundation of all true progress. And he says, here, tolerance is needed between one soul and another. It is important that we do not assume any attitude of violence. So he says here, tolerance is a complete release of all evil and a continuous service in goodness. To tolerate is to reflect brotherly understanding, and forgiveness is always a preventive measure that assures health and peace, renewal and security, wherever it may be. To tolerate is to reflect brotherly understanding. So, first and foremost, he says to tolerate so we can forgive. Emmanuel wrote the message that we're reading today in Hope and Light in 1992. He wrote the message in the book Thought and Life in 1958. And this is interesting because as we're students of Spiritism, we observe how these spirits are so consistent. throughout decades, Emmanuel brings to us the same teaching. Why? First, because it's the law of life. It doesn't change. And two, because he's really connected to the theme of the Spirit of Truth, bringing to us universal truth. The teachings that we're studying here, they are taught and they shall be taught anywhere in the universe. How do I know it? When we read the Spirit's book, it makes sense to us that God created us for the same alignment. So it is part of life anywhere in this, not only the world, planet Earth, but in the universe. So what we're doing right now at 11 p.m. is a virtual classroom of teachings that will help us anywhere we live in this universe. So right now, we're investing in our universal learning experience. This is not only to a temporary life or to a temporary phase in our lives. These teachings are for immortality. If I go to medical school today, maybe in 10 years I go back and it's a completely different story. Some things will be the same, but many things, new discoveries, new understanding. These teachings that we're learning today with Emmanuel, they don't change. They are the same. So from 1958 to 1992, it's the same word, it's consistent, different places. And Emmanuel bringing to us the truth that we need to be kind. But you may be asking, which is fair, how can I be kind if people are not nice all the time? We need to encode differently. People are children of God. That's why Jesus looks at us with immortal eyes. He looks at us and can already see us there. He knows that God created you and I for divine purposes. We're co-creators. It renews my hope. And then it renews the way that I believe people deserve kindness across the board. Tolerance. Because today we make a mistake, but tomorrow somebody does make a mistake and vice versa. So we want people to understand. To tolerate in Spiritism means to understand and wait. To understand and wait. That's the goal. So then with hope, we are to forgive. It's possible to forgive. Right? Yesterday, we were learning with Maria Dolores the key affirmation, Lord, keep me in the good. And now, our dear Emmanuel is helping us keep ourselves in the good by believing in the good in others as well, in the divine in others, so we can exercise kindness, tolerance, and forgiveness. So, what is our exercise in the next 24 hours? The exercise that they are asking us is to renew our feelings and our thoughts and projecting the divine that we see in others, in ourselves, and say, I believe in you. I forgive you. I believe in the divine in you. Thus, I forgive you. When it's hard for us to forgive, let us use this affirmation. I believe in the divine in you. Thus, I forgive you. I believe in the divine in you. Thus, I forgive you. I believe in the divine in you. Thus, I forgive you. Shall we do this? This is our affirmation for the next 24 hours. And if needed, forgiveness of the self. We make a mistake, we need to forgive ourselves. So we tell ourselves, I am divine, thus I forgive myself. I am divine, thus I forgive myself for not knowing yet, not doing it yet, etc., etc. Right, friends? I see beautiful friends, faithful to these teachings that are immortalized in Chico Xavier's psychography. Thank you, Teresa Castro. Thank you, Sol Souza. Thank you, Rihanna. Thank you, friends. Right, Rihanna, Emmanuel bringing to us. So let us do this affirmation today. I believe in the divine in you, thus I forgive you. And the same for us. I believe in the divine in me, thus I forgive myself. Let us work on forgiveness because, as he says, let us forgive so that God may forgive us. This is Jesus' teachings. Friend, this is the beauty of the teachings of hope and light here at Kardec Radio. We thank you for joining us, for partaking in this feast, the banquet of light. A big hug to you. Until tomorrow, God willing, friends, always with hope and light in our hearts and minds.